That's a 34 red. Finally, he got a good win. But he's not in session profit, so what he's going to do... Hey, what's up there, YouTube viewers? What's going on? Welcome back, all you roulette players. I have a strategy here that was sent to me by Lauren. We're going to try this system out, and I will try it out, and I will play it in a minute. I just want to let you know, don't forget to like, don't forget to share, don't forget to subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss another roulette spin. Well, let's get right into this video and let's check out this roulette strategy by Lauren. All right, let's get right into Lauren's strategy. So what we're gonna do here is, all right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna play $1 on there, $1 on there, and then we're gonna put $1 on the red. All right, and let's go ahead and spin. That's a 34 red. That's a great one. That's a $2 win. So we're gonna rebet and spin. All right, that's a 16 red. That's another good one. $2 win. So we're going to rebet and spin. That's a 3 red. All right, that is a $1 loss. So we're going to rebet and spin. That's an 11 black. All right, that's a total loss. Rebet, and let's double it and spin. That's an 18 red. All right, that's a $4 win. So we're going to rebet. We're going to come back down the base and spin. That's a 15 black. All right, that's a 0. That's a break even. So we're going to rebet and spin. That's a 34 red. That's another big win. All right, we're going to rebet and spin. Okay, we came to the table with 20 bucks. We're going to try $20 each friend. And if we lose more than that, we're going to walk away. We are going to play disciplined. All right, that's a $2 win. Rebet and spin. And I think our goal will be 20 bucks. Just make $20 and that's it. That's a 27 red. That's another good number. So we're going to rebet and spin. All right, we're halfway to our goal of $20. That's a 2 black. That's a total loss, I believe. It is. So we're going to rebet. We're going to double and spin. That's a 3 red. That's a dollar loss, I believe. $2 loss. So we're going to just rebet and we're just going to spin. That's a partial loss. So we're just going to rebet and spin on a partial loss. That's an 11 black. That's a total loss. So now that it's a total loss, we're going to rebet. We're going to double. And let me make sure we have it in the bankroll. We do. All right, and spin. We have enough in our bankroll to do it. That's a 16 red. That's a good one. That's a good jackpot win. That's an $8 win. So now we're going to rebet and we're going to go back down to base of $3 and spin. All right, we're $7 ahead. All right, that's a 5 red. That's a partial loss of $1. So we're going to rebet and spin. And that is a 16 red. That's a good one. That's a jackpot number. All right, that's a $2 win. So now we're going to just rebet and spin. All right, we're up $8 now. We've got to make $20 for the day. That's a 33 black. I believe that's a break even. It is. So we're going to rebet and spin. That's a 32 red. That's a win. That's a $2 win. So we're going to rebet and spin. That's a $20, 20. That is a push. That is a break even. So rebet and spin. That's a 19 red. That's a good one. $2 win. So we're going to rebet and spin. All right, we're up $12 with Lauren's system. All right, that's a 31 black. That's a push. Rebet and spin. That's a 27 red. That's a $2 win. Rebet and spin. All right, we're up $14. All right, that's a 14. That's another good one. All right, we're doing very well here with Lauren's system. So we're going to rebet and spin. That's a 32 red. That's another good one. We just need one more win and we can go to friend number 2. Spin. The big thing is you don't get greedy. That's a 35. That is a push. That's okay. We don't want to get greedy. We just want to make 20 bucks. That's it. And just double our money. And that's what I'm going to try to do today. 29. That's another push. And we're going to spin. All right. We just need one more win. And it just keeps avoiding us, doesn't it? All right. That's a 2 black. That's a total loss. That's all right, though. So we're going to rebet. We're going to double and spin. That's a 36 red. That's a good one. And that is a $4 win. And where does that take us? Rebet. And we're going to go back to 0. But before we spin this, we're going to go, ooh, we're $1 short. You believe it? All right. So we're going to go ahead and spin and try to get this dollar. And that's a 9 red. That is a loss of $1. So we're just going to rebet and spin on a partial loss. We just need a big red number. And there it is. That's a 14 red. That is a win. So that takes us down. That gives us 20 bucks for the day. That's not bad. Let's go home. Let's go home a winner. All right. Now let's go to friend number 2. Okay, we're here with friend number 2. All right. They had a bigger bankroll. So they're going to do $5 units instead of dollar units. So they have their bankroll is actually a $100 bankroll. They got a $100 bankroll, so they're going to go with the $100. They're going to go with red and the same, and they're going to do the same. And we're going to see now they got a $15 bet. So we're going to try to get this up to $100 and spin. So this is the second friend. They only have $100. All right, that's a 12 red. That is a $5 loss, I believe. Yep. So we're going to rebet and spin. We don't do anything with partial losses. All right, that's an 11 black. That is a total loss. All right. So we're going to rebet and we're going to double it now and spin. All right, they got a $100 bankroll. They're going to try to take it to 100 to double their money. All right, that's a 22 black. That is a push. So we're going to rebet and spin. That's a 25 red. That's a win. Awesome. All right, so we're going to rebet and spin. Oh, I forgot to take it back down. 7 red. So that's a $10 loss, I believe. Yeah, because I forgot to take it down. So we're just going to rebet, and we're going to take it down to 5 because that's where we were supposed to be. All right, so we're going to rebet and spin. That's a 20 black. That doesn't hurt us. That's a push. So we're going to rebet and spin. All right, that's a 29 black. That's another push. Rebet and spin. That's a 34 red. All right, that's a win. So we're going to rebet and spin. We're even now. That's a 14. That takes us up. That's a good one. So now we're up $10. Rebet and spin. That's a double zero. That's not good. All right, rebet. And we are going to double it and spin. Come on, let's get a high red. All right, that's a black high. That's fine. Any high number we'll take. Rebet and spin. That's a break even. So we'll take a break even all the time, all day long. All right, that's a 12. That's a loss, unfortunately. All right, so that's a $10 loss. So we're going to rebet. We're going to double again. Oh, no, we're not going to double. We're only going to go up 5. All right, let's do it all over again. That's 5, 10, 15. We're going to double, and then we're going to put an extra 5 on each and spin. All right, and let's see what we do here. All right, that's a 21 red. That's a good one. All right, so that's a $30 win. So now we're going to rebet, and we're going to take it back down to base. Whoops. I'm going to take it down to base. Why am I doing doubling? All right. So we're bringing it down, back down to base. And let's see where we're at. Okay, we're at $15 ahead. We're good. All right, that's a 7 red. That's a loss. That's okay. It's a $5 loss, so we're not going to do anything. It's just a partial loss, so we're going to just rebet and spin. That's a 30 red. That's a great one. That's a great number. It's a $10 win. So we're going to rebet and spin. All right, that's a 31 black. That's a push. That's nothing. Nothing's going to hurt you there. So we're going to rebet and spin. All right. That's a 1 red. That's a break even. I mean, not a break even. That's a $5 loss. But we're not going to do anything with partial losses. We're just going to rebet and spin. That's a 22 black. That won't hurt us. So we're going to rebet and spin. All right. Come on, let's get a high red number. A high number is good anyway. That's a push. All right, so we're going to rebet and spin. I like this system, Lauren. Thank you for sending it in. All right, that's a 10 black. All right, that's a total loss, but that's okay. We're going to rebet, and now we're going to double it and spin. Let's get a high red number. That's a 4 black. All right, that's another total loss. So we're going to rebet, and we're going to put down $5 more on each. Let's make sure that we have the bankroll to do it. So it's a $45 bet plus 30. Okay, we still have it because we do have a $100 bankroll. So let's go ahead and spin. All right, that's a 25 red. That's a good one. All right, that's a $30 win. So we're back to even. So since we're back to even, we're going to go back to base. All right, and spin. Let's go back to base. Let's stay safe. All right, and let's get a high one. There we go. All right, we got another $10 win. So we're going to rebet and spin. All right, that's a 12. That's a total loss. All right, so we're going to, that's just not a total loss. Sorry, that's a partial loss. So we're just going to rebet and spin. Let's get a high red number. That's a 6 black. That's another total loss. All right, so we're going to rebet. We're going to double, and we're going to spin. All right, now we're down $10. All right, and that's a 15 black. That doesn't hurt anyone. That's a push. All right, and the player number 2 decided that if they could bring this back up to $20, they'll be happy and they'll walk away and make 20 bucks. They're not going to push it because their system's being a rough. It's not being cooperative. So what we're going to do now is we just rebet, and we had a push, so we're just going to spin. All right, so let's get a high red number so we can get to the 30. That's an 11 black. That's a total loss. That's not good. All right, so we're going to rebet. We're going to double. And let me make sure it's in the bankroll. It is just in the bankroll. So we have just enough to do this spin. Hopefully we get a high red number. That's a 9. That's not a high red number. Nope, we don't have enough to do it. So the second player lost 60 bucks. All right, so let's go on to friend number 3. All right, we're going on to friend number 3. Now, friend number 3 came even with a bigger bankroll. They came with $200. So what they're going to do is they're going to go with $10 bets. But this shows you that going slow and steady really wins the race. But let's see. Let's see what they do. All right, and they're going to go with $10 bets because they have $200 bankroll. So let's go ahead and spin. All right, that's a 16 red. That's a win. All right, so that's $20. So we're going to rebet and spin. And his goal is to just get half his money, make a 50% profit. So he's going for $100. 14, that's another win. So we're going to rebet and spin. So he's almost there. $40. All right, that's a 5 red. That is a partial loss. So we don't do anything with partial losses except rebet and spin. All right, that's a 9 red. That's another partial loss. So we're going to rebet and spin. One more partial loss and maybe we'll double it. That's a 10 black. That's a total loss. So we have no other choice but to double it now. So we're going to rebet. We're going to double it. And we're going to spin. All right. Now we're down $10 with a $200 bankroll. That's a $20. $20. That's a push. So we're going to rebet and spin. All right. That's a 15 black. All right, that's another push, rebet and spin. That's a 6 black. All right, so that's a total loss. So we're going to rebet and we're going to put in another $10 on each of these and spin. That's an 11 black. That's another total loss. We don't have enough to make another bet. We're at 160, so our next bet would have took us over to $200. So the third player lost $160. All right, and let's go to friend number 4. Okay, player 4 comes more prepared. He comes with a $500 bankroll, but his stakes are high. So let's see how he does. He's going to try to make $250, or he's going to try, actually, he's going to just try to make $100. He does have a $500 bankroll. So let's see if he can succeed in making $100. And that's not even 50% of his money. He's going for like 25%. So 25% would be $125. So let's do that. He's going to try for $125. Just make since he's betting more. This is a roulette. This is a point, a good point to make when you grow up your bankroll and you're increasing your bets by a large amount. You should always decrease your percent, what you want. When you're betting dollar units, 50%, 100% is good. When you're betting $10, you should only try to get to $50. And $25 bets, you should try to get to the All right, that's a 36 red. Was I bet? No. Yes, I did. I did bet. All right, so that's a $50 win. So, all right, so instead of me talking, I should have been paying attention. So we're just going to rebet and spin with that. But like I said, you should only go for a small amount when you're gambling more because you're going to make a good profit. All right, so let's go ahead and spin. All right, let's see if we can get this up to $100 in the first 2 minutes. That's a 12 red. That is a partial loss. So we lost 25. So with that, we're not going to do anything. We're just going to rebet and spin. All right, that's a 28 black. That's a push. So we're going to rebet and spin. All right, that's a 30 red. All right, that's a hit. That's a good hit. So we're just going to rebet and spin. All right. All right, let's get a win. That's a 34 red. That's a great win. And we made our goal. Fourth player made their goal of $125, which is 25% of their bankroll. And that's a good way to play it. You only want a 25% of your bankroll. Okay, and let's go on to the player number 5, okay? Okay, now on to the 4th player. He's going to try to make 10% of his bankroll, which is a $2,000 bankroll system. So he's going to try and make $200. All right, so let's go ahead and place the bets. And spin. That's a 1 red. That's a partial loss of $100. So we don't do anything with partial losses. We just rebet and spin. That's a 0. That's a total loss. I'm going to double it and spin. That's a 5 red. That's a partial loss. So we're going to rebet and spin on a partial loss. He's down $600. That's a 34 red. Finally, he got a good win. But he's not in session profit. So what he's going to do is he's just going to rebet. And he's going to try to win again and spin because he's not in session profit. That's a 19 red. That is a good one. And now he's in session profit. And not only is he in session profit, but I believe he won. He did. So that's it for him. He made his $200. That was player 5. And don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss another roulette spin. And you have a great rest of your holiday season. I also like to thank Lauren for sending this in. Lauren, I like the strategy. I might use it in the casinos. Thank you. Thank you for sending it in. Hey, what's up there, roulette players and roulette watchers and YouTube watchers? Well, that system went pretty good. We ran 5 friends, and I'm going to give you a little lesson on trying to keep your bankroll. So with this lesson, we did it in today's video. And what you do is, if you're working with a small budget, like $20 budget, you try to get 100% because you're only risking 20 bucks. If you can afford to lose that 20, then, you know, it's good to just go for the 100% and make 20 on your 20. That's a great day, and you could walk away. Now, as you get higher in the bet increments, you got to lower that percentage of what you want to make. So like the player number 2, they were going for 50%, which would have been 50% would have been making their $100 go into $150. And this is a percentage on what your full bankroll is. So if they would have made it to 150, which they didn't, they would have made 50%. And that's a good goal when you're dealing with that kind of a bankroll. And then this third player was had a $200 bankroll, and they did lose. They lost $160. However, they were going for an $80 profit for a 40%. Now, see, that goes down a little bit, so 50%, so 40%. So you should be happy with a bankroll of $200. You should be happy with going home with an extra $80. And then player number 4, they had a much higher bankroll. They had a $500 bankroll, and they wanted to get 25%, and they did. They made $125. That's 25% on their $500 bankroll. That's a perfect walk-away goal. And now player number 5, they had a $2,000 bankroll system. So if you have a $2,000 bankroll, that's a great bankroll, and but you shouldn't push it. You should only look to get 10% increase on your money. This is how you manage your bankroll, and this is how you don't lose it. And this is a very great way to strategically make your bankroll last. And also, this is how you're going to walk out of the casinos either a winner or a loser. You'll lose a lot less if you go by my systems. And this is a lesson. Check it out, and let me just go over what the players did. Player 1 walked away with 100% profit of $20. Hey, that's great. Player 2, unfortunately, they lost $60. But out of $100, that means they saved $40. That's the way you got to look at it. You're going to lose less. That's what I say on all my channels. I tell you right on my channel, win more, lose less. And he lost a lot less. He only lost $60 out of the 100, so he did go home with an extra that $40. Now player 3, they did the same thing. They lost. They had a $200 bankroll. They were pushing for a 40% gain. Unfortunately, they didn't make the 40%, but they did lose 160 out of the 200. So they saved $40, and and that's why you got to be disciplined. Take that 40 and just say, okay, that's at the end of the day, that's it. And now player number 4, he was playing $25 units. He had a $500 bankroll, and he was going for 25% gain on his money, and he accomplished it. He made $125. So that's his gain, $125, and he walked away. That's perfect. Now, same thing with the player 5. Player 5, they had even a higher budget. They had even a higher bankroll. They had a $2,000 bankroll. But when you have a $2,000 bankroll, you gotta tell yourself, I'm happy with making 10% on that. And that 10% was $200, and that's what he walked away with. All right. Well, that's it for that. And please don't forget to like, don't forget to share, and hit that notification bell so you never miss another roulette spin. And you have a wonderful, happy new year.